for everyone that came tonight. This is an informational trustee meeting. The only thing we're going to be talking about tonight is the lake situation. And I'm going to pass this over to Mark.
Okay, thanks for everybody for coming. Last Monday at our meeting, we passed a motion for a resolution to take advantage of any legal that is to our benefit from the Portage County. So anything that's available legal-wise, we're going to go ahead and accept, and we're going to try to get some a case put together. The reason for this meeting, I wanted to introduce everybody. Okay, there it is. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Randy Wilburn, trustee, Ed Dean, trustee, Nancy Cowen, and Kristy, these are fiscal officers. To my right is Mr. Christian-Bennett. He is running for Tim Ryan's seat, which would be our congressman. I asked him to be here so he could kind of hear the hardships that we go through at the lake with the water. Next, Tim Taylor. He's the president of the Berlin Lake Association. Done so much. He's got a wealth of information. We appreciate everything he's done on his end. Next, we have Leslie Steele and Martha Cobb from Lessons Bait. Martha down here has been in the lake for 57 years in the business. She also has a wealth of information that is going to be real helpful for us. So, where'd it go?
Now we're off.
Oh, I unplugged it. Okay. So before we go any further, I'm going to apologize now because for those of you who don't know me, God gave everybody one of those things between here and here. He skipped over me. I don't have one of those. Filter. So if I offend anybody, I'll apologize now. So again, with this meeting, what we're trying to do with the township is get this into legal status, but there's no way that this small group of people can get the information that we need. You can ask somebody, when did the lake, when was it started? Everybody says, well, 1941. You really can't go into anything unless you have facts. What day was it signed? When did this all happen? When was it completed? Not 1952. When did they fill it? So these are the things that we're not going to be able to do all by ourselves. There's so much information that our attorney's going to need, and we're hoping that we can get a lot of volunteers from this audience to help us out. There'll be a lot of computer work, a lot of dates, and we have to be specific. We have to have facts, and we have to have it printed for the attorneys. Let's see. That being said, I want to bring up, I think Christian-Bennett is going to show up, and somebody from the Renacci's camp.
Andrew Shehorn, he's from Jim Renacci's camp. He's attending our meeting tonight
Why don't you come
also.
up here and sit next to Martha for me? That way, I want you guys to listen to what hardships and what we go through here at Berlin Lake. As far as Deerfield, as far as I'm concerned, the lake is the #1 economic driver for our community. We don't have water, we don't have sewer. So this lake is our economic driver. Oh, and there's late. This is one of our commissioners, another chair down there, Christian-Bennett, and she's commissioner for Portage County. So, you know, this is not, I'm not a weekend camper. I'm not a part-time homeowner here. This is our home. And these people that own and feed businesses in this town, they're our neighbors. And when this lake goes down, it hurts them. It hurts those people who own property on or next to the lake. I mean, let's face it, we take one of these lake fronts, put it up in Lake Milton, what's going to happen? You know for a fact that's going to go up $100,000. What's that do for the township? Well, if we had that extra $100,000 in taxes, guess what? That helps us. You can ask any business owner when the lake starts going down what it does to their business. It just destroys it. The hard ones are like Martha Cobb, who rents a dock. Let's say you rent a dock from her for $700, you put it in Memorial Day, and then all of a sudden before August, you have to pull it out. That person that lives in Akron is not going to come back to Berlin Lake. They're going to say, screw Berlin, we're going to go here. So let's get a little history. So right around 1941 is when they started the lake. They completed in 1952. Am I right on that, Tim? And Martha? Kind of. Is when they completed it.
They started it
In 43. Okay. So anyhow, let's move on from that. So when they put the lake is what? Tell me how many acres? Anybody know? 3,600 and what acres? We're just going to call it 3,700. Of that, there's probably, I'm guesstimating, 2,700 acres of that lies in Deerfield Township, which we get zero tax money for. When they put the lake in, they put the lake in so fast that they didn't secure the property around the lake. They've done that with Kerwin, they've done that with Mosquito, with Shenango, with Pymatumi, but they allowed this lake to get built on. So we're thinking is, since you allowed that to happen, you need to bear some responsibility for these landowners. That's what we're thinking. It doesn't affect anybody on West Branch. It doesn't affect anybody. There's nobody that lives there. It's not grown up. Now, today, they say, well, if we had to do it all over again, well, sure, you would secure the property, but it's not, it is what it is today. So, now let's fast forward to today, and how do I want to put this? I lost my train. You're with me so far, the how the lake is, okay. So now it's been told to us for so many years that it takes an act of Congress to change the level of the lake, which means we need to contact and get every federal, state politician involved that can make that happen. Now the Corps, when I talked to the previous commander, Mr. Lloyd, he encouraged us to go to see the politicians because that's where the money comes from. And that's what they claim they need to change the lake, that it has to be done through Congress. Well, they also say they follow a curve when they fill the lake and when they draw down the lake. Well, the new commander I met last, 2 weeks ago, and he says, we follow the curve. And we've been following that curve since it started, the inception. And I called him out on that bullshit. Excuse me, but that's what I did. Because where I was standing at Lessons Bay, we were down 3 feet. But yet that same exact day, a year ago before that, we were at full summer pool. So how are you following the curve? You're not. West Branch was put in to alleviate the pressure of Berlin from releasing so much water. My understanding, and again, I don't have this in facts, but I need to know, and this is one of the things we need to find out, where is this in writing that they're supposed to draw down equal percentages? I don't know.
I have actually a little information. I don't know if anybody's seen the Berlin Center book yet. You know how there's South Carolina, you'll see it in the book, the Sebring book. But now there's one from Berlin Center. And I guess one of the reasons that they do what they do had to do with a lot of the steel plants in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And the watershed.
Right, and we'll go into that.
And those are no longer there.
That's correct. And I can tell you, I've done some homework from 1961 to today. There's 140 less thousand people for the census that live in Warren and Youngstown. That's 140,000. Just think about one time they flush the toilet a day. That's 140,000 gallons. And you know they use a lot more than that. The steel mills are gone. So the need for this downstream augmentation that they need to keep the river going, I don't see it. So this is what we need to find out. This is what we need to get into the information we need. We need the exact stats. So hopefully with this process, we can get enough people involved, we can get enough people in this audience that to volunteer to get the information that we need so we can proceed to get this to our legal, and then we can go from there. So, every year it's different. This year we all know that they sat here at the Berlin Lake Association meeting and said that they filed for a deviation to keep this water level 10/21 through Labor Day. And they all said it. What they neglected to say is we filed for a deviation and if it's approved. They left that out. So it wouldn't have been so hard for us to swallow if they would have put that in there, if it was approved. When we left, we felt all warm and fuzzy that we're going to have water for this year. Now, that's not the case. Last year was the same thing. We met at the Ken Crumble. There was a few of us, and we met with the Pittsburgh District. Same thing, when we left there, we kind of all felt good about it. Within a week later, they started dropping us 2 inches a day. So I don't know that we can, there's probably in this group at least 2,000 stories. We need to put those in paper. We need to put those facts down. We need to have those facts from the computer. Now, I know Tim has a ton of it, Martha has a ton of it. They've been keeping records since 1988. I see Duke back there from Dutch Harbor. Duke has everyday logs, the water levels, just as Martha does. So we want to move forward with this. This is our plan. And again, hopefully we can get some of you guys on board. Hopefully we can get a new man maybe in the chair so we can maybe get some help out here, because frankly, we have gotten no help from Tim Ryan. Tim Taylor, myself, have been in his office, and I've never met him, but we've had meetings, but he's never been there personally. So I don't understand, and a lot of people don't understand why we are the chosen one to get picked on to get the water taken out. I had talked to Kathleen Clyde. She's state representative. She said, well, Mark, this has nothing to do with me. I said, it has everything to do with you. And she said, how so? And I said, well, the state just put $4 to $6 million in West Branch in the campground. It's beautiful. Of course you guys want the water up there. You get your investment back. However, we put a $1.3 million ramp in, and it's mud right now. So, again, it's something that we're going to move forward with. Hopefully we can get enough people involved and get the information that we need so we can get something done. We're hoping late November. Like I say, every avenue that's available legally to us, we're going to take and go from there.
Who's going to represent us?
As of right now, there's Chris Maduri. He is the county prosecutor, and he will do what he can. Like I said, that's what we have to do. We have to get this information to him, and then he can decide where we go and what avenues we have available to us legally.
And he is well on board with us. He wants this to happen. He's going to do everything he can to guide us through this process and everything.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone have a handle on the enabling legislation itself? I doubt that it says a lot of things that Fort Plains says.
Well, that's exactly why we need somebody, and we need people to volunteer to actually dig through this thing. I mean, when the inception of this lake, there's got to be a bill through Congress somewhere.
There's many.
Okay.
I've looked at the statutes. There's 4 or 5 statutes and a multitude of amendments. So that is, to answer the question, the statutes are very general. They simply state it's a flood control aid. And then through subsequent amendments, it defines it as a recreational lake.
And that was when? Was that not late 70s, early 80s?
It's from 1931 through 1972 primarily, with multiple amendments. Now, what Congress does is very general. They simply set out a situation where this is a flood control lake. Primary purpose, secondary purpose is fish and wildlife, downflow augmentation, recreation, and a couple other ones. What they then do is give the authority to the Corps of Engineers to enact that statute through a rulemaking process. So all these rules that I've been able to read, all these rules that the Corps is coming up with are their rules through their water management plan.
So can we poke holes through any of this?
Well, we probably could.
Why don't you come up here and sit?
We probably could, and I'm also going to suggest that simply suing the Corps is one way, but it may or may not be the best way, because first of all, I don't know what Chris Missouri has, how far you've talked to him. First of all, you have to have standing to sue the federal government. I'm not sure if that exists here.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, there's a lot of ways to do this. Social media, the legislature, and legal. Legal is a tough one because it's long, involved.
That's correct. Well, what I think, what
But
I'm
that
hoping
didn't answer the
for,
question.
But
This is core, these are core rules.
Right, but the legislation is permissive, not prescriptive then.
Well, the legislation is the legislation. It sets out and defines each of the 800 waterways in the United States that are controlled by the Corps of Engineers.
I'd
The
like
vast
to talk to you-
majority.
I'd like to talk to you later on that.
Absolutely.
well, again, I'm hoping that we can bring some new faces to it.
And I'd like to suggest that you form a committee, because
Right.
this information, and I'd be happy to be on the committee.
Yeah, we're hoping that, what I'm hoping is that we bring some new players and not from Pittsburgh, let's go up a little higher to the division office out of Cincinnati, maybe Washington. Get some more of the politicians involved. Again, social media, let's get some attention brought to this. That's what I'm hoping for. Because at this point right now, we meet with Pittsburgh, same thing. You know, we feel all warm and fuzzy. And I just like to get some new players that we can discuss with and go from there. And I think if the township, between our passion for what we're doing and how much it means to this township, us three town trustees, I mean, this is our main economic driver of this community, is that lake. So hopefully that we can team up with the Berlin Lake Association. They have a lot of they have a lot of information, Martha Cobb. We get that, and we can go forward and maybe, like I said, punch some holes somewhere. This is really, really early stages, and the reason I brought you here is so we can see who is willing to help. And the more the merrier. I mean, we need the information, and it's not as, I need facts. It's gotta be facts. It has to be able to be printed and verified. That's what we have to have. You can't do anything with hearsay. I've had so many people tell me different stories. Well, this used to be this way. Well, I don't know that for a fact. So I'm asking that any of you guys out here right now willing to help and donate time, or if you have any information, I'm going to put a sign up over here, and if you just put your name and contact number, and we'll see if we can get everybody back together and start moving on this and see what we can do, and join forces with not only the township, hopefully Berlin Lake Association will be on there, hopefully the local, you're on board? Okay, great. And then we need to get some changes. Also, like I said, I'm not here to campaign for anybody, but I don't care if this was Elmer Fudd. I want to get Tim Ryan out because he really hasn't been much help to us. I'm just saying. I don't mean that that way. So, again, filter. I already apologize earlier for it. Anybody from up here have anything? Martha, Tim, Randy, Ed, turn up. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I really think the committee is a great idea. And like you said, we only have so much knowledge among us three, and I'm definitely not in the legal field. But we need help. I mean, we see how much it hurts our community, and we're willing to do everything possible. That's the reason we're going this route. Mark and the three of us probably knows more about the lake, because that's what his business is, the lake. But we need to do something, because it's just going down, down, and down.
Well, we talked to Tim earlier. Tim's pretty much a diplomatic type of guy, and I'm kind of rough around the edges and outside the box. So again, that filter is kind of lost with me, but he's more the diplomat. So, but he's got a wealth of information. So we will take it. Any of the trustees, hopefully you're on board. Go ahead. Come on.
One thing, do we have the cooperation with the other counties? Do we have the cooperation with the other townships?
Lexington.
Because it's bigger in Deerfield.
Right.
Big lake.
So Ed and I went to Lexington. Was it you? Yeah, Randy and I went to Lexington and asked them to jump on board. They asked me to write it down on paper. Oh, well, I mean, it's an encyclopedia. I can't do that. And I explained to them, you know, this is, even though it's very small, but there's 23 years in here, I can't put that on paper. So, as far as Berlin Township, I talked to one of the trustees. He's absolutely on board. I'm going to go to their meeting the first Monday of the month, and we're going to ask them to join and jump on board with us. So the more the merrier, because his district would be Bill Johnson. And I've actually went down and spoke with them at their office before, and of course they wrote a letter to the court, and they got the same involved answers that we get. I was hoping that Lexington was, I thought for a minute they were with Renacci, but no, they cut it out. It's Tim Ryan over there. So I thought the more the politicians we can get involved, the congressmen, the state representatives, the better. So yes, to answer your questions, yeah, we're pursuing that. I don't know what to do with Lake or with Lexington. I guess I'll go to another meeting and tell them, you know, I just can't put this in writing. Yes, sir.
I know the Lexington trustees well.
Do you?
And if I could have something to hand and say, this is what we need.
Okay.
I would go to a meeting and talk to Dan and.
I've had some of the folks that live across from, I don't know if they're here tonight, across from the airport. Oh, there you are. Okay.
I left a message for you. There was on Saturday's camera repository.
Yes.
There was a.
I did get that message.
Okay.
I talked to you after that. We did discuss
I just
that.
left it. I didn't talk to you.
Did you bring it to me?
No, I forgot.
Okay. Then
Here it is.
Shehorn. No. Okay, you got it. Great. I would love to see that because I have not seen that. But okay, so I've been in contact with her. We went to the Lexington meeting with her and her husband. So I guess we're going to go back to Lexington and see what we can do. You know them. By golly, let's set it up to where their next meeting, we're all there.
What is it that they want? Do they want an explanation of what we want or why we want it?
We actually asked them to be on board with this, hopefully.
Do they want to know why we want them to be on board?
They actually wanted a bunch of information of the history and the lake, and you know, and again, that's just overwhelmingly so much to put down on paper. You just can't. I mean, if I could sit down with them each individually for 10 hours, I might get them up to speed somewhat. But again, to actually put it on paper and get them to understand that, whereas Berlin Center, Danny Furman over there, he's a trustee, he pays attention and he listens to, he has Ben's, he has the campgrounds, he's got the drive-through, Frank's Marine, the Dairy Queen, the gas station. So they're all in his ear. So he's for that. We just have to figure out if the rest of them are over Berlin Center. So
You passed some kind of legislation or resolution?
we passed a motion
We passed a
for a
motion
resolution to proceed with the
That's a
legal.
resolution though, isn't it?
At this point in time, we don't need a resolution. We only needed a motion.
Well, the motion has to be something.
At this point in time, our legal guy told us all we needed was a motion to get this started. Down the road, once we figure out, she made a good point. We may not have standing in this as a township. We think we do, but that'll be investigated down the road. We might not have standing, which will change how it has to proceed. If we do abstaining, then we will have to make a resolution. And he will guide us under resolution to move forward with this. But at this point in time, we did the motion that the
That
prosecutor's
motion-
office required.
That motion is what needs to go to Lexington.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we can do
Exact
that.
wording of your motion.
I have talked to Lexington also. All they told me was they wanted a lot more information.
Yes.
And he talked to them and they added more information to it from him that they wanted. I think they're gonna be on board. I think they're a little hesitant to jump in, but they've got some water in their property too. They need to back up and help us and everything. That way it gets the word spread out, and a lot of people from a lot of different areas are gonna be working on this.
Right, because maybe then we'll have Stark County, Mahoning, Portage County on board. So that's what we're pushing for, what we're going to try to set up. Anybody else have, I know somebody, yes?
I'm 100% in favor of what you're doing. My question is this: you spoke to the prosecutor's office.
Yes.
You're going to use them for attorneys. He was talking about suing for.
No, this is just taking the legal action to proceed so we can come up with something. I mean, if he's able, we're able to go this far once they decide, because there might be higher up that say we have no standing in that. But if we do and they proceed, it's just we're not suing anybody for monetary figures. It is basically what we're after, and we're asking for another 50 days of water. I mean, that's something that God created that we have to, beg for. And I think that's ridiculous, and that's all we're asking for. Because again, no one since I've been out in this area 23 years, has they ever been able to tell me for what reason do we have to have it down so quick? I've seen them drop this lake a foot a day. So now with the new Doppler radars and everything else, we can see hurricanes coming. I think it was about 12 years ago when the Ohio got flooded, all the boats were up against the locks, and it was bad. It was one hurricane after another. We actually, I think, did we not approach and go over the... Not the fall. So so they've never been able to say, we can't, there's no reason for it. I mean, right now, if we get down to 1016, and can I have a level right now, Martha?
1017.
We're at 1017 even?
0.02.
Okay, so 1017, we're down 7 feet right now. So if you get down to 1016, they kind of slow it down a little bit. So we're still going to have 80-degree weather in September, and sometimes in October. So where's the need for the downstream augmentation once we're not really releasing water? It still heats up. They've told us for years, the story changes every year. I've been told so much things for these years, and frankly, I'm just tired. And that's why we decided as a team that we need to pursue this in legally wise and see how far we can take this. And we get the Berlin Lake Association on board, Lexington, Berlin Center, let's take it to them. The fight's on, because again, last year, they dropped us 2 inches a day, August 15th, we're done. This year, they talk about the deviation, but they don't explain it to us exactly. They just make us believe that that's what we were gonna have this year. And so it's time. We're ready to do it. We're not gonna ease up, and we're hoping we get a bunch of people on our sides and backing us and helping us out with this, because there's no way we're gonna be able to handle this by ourselves.
I was under the impression that if the state of Ohio spent all them millions on that new boat ramp, that the deviation was almost guaranteed.
Well, no, see, that was the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and Wildlife who got the grant to put that in. So that's not the Corps of Engineers that put that in. That was Wildlife that put that in. So,
Yeah.
but, yeah, so again, there's a 1.3 that, and you would assume that they would keep the water up because they invested that money, like they keep the water at West Branch. Does anybody have West Branch's level right now? What is it?
They're only 7,000 acres, so when they drop Berlin as fast as we do, West Branch or Mosquito can't withstand the drop.
No, they can't because, yeah, well, yes, we're the bigger lake, we're deeper lake. But again, percentage-wise, it was always been told to me that somewhere written that West Branch, when it was put in, West Branch and Berlin, Mosquito, Pymatuming, Shenango were supposed to release a percentage, equal percentage, not equal volume amount, but percentage. And I don't think they're doing that right now. What's West Branch right now, Martha?
Well, Leslie has it all right here.
Anybody have it? What is it?
983.
Would you put somewhere? How far down? 2 feet? 2 feet. So we're approaching, we're 7 feet, they're 2. I don't think that's equal percentages. West, Milton, we could leave Milton out of that, because Milton now is a, well, unless we can find a way that when they enacted that whole thing, that there's something that they did wrong or anything, we can leave kind of Milton, I think, out of it. I mean, it's owned by the state now, there was an agreement made, and unless we can find a loophole there somewhere that they did something wrong, I think we have to leave Milton out of it.
You have to maintain the water level at a certain point on.
Are you learning anything?
So much.
Okay. So, you understand, like, right now, Martha, are you still open, Martha? Barely? Are you still open?
Just barely.
Yeah. So, again, 2 weeks, August 1st, we were down probably 3 feet. It was real close to borderline of being unsafe boating. There's islands out there, if people don't know they're there, the Corps will not put any buoys up or anything, but if they come flying across that lake, wide open throttle, and they hit that sandbar, somebody's coming out of that boat, somebody's gonna get hurt. And again, all we're asking for is safe boating through Labor Day, and then they can start to slow crawl. That's what we're going for, that's what we're asking for. Oh no, we've had these problems, oh my God. We've been dealing with this for 20 years. Well, at least I have been. There's been some years that I've seen that we've had full summer during October. But that has been a long, the last 8 years has been rough. And this being our economic driver for Deerfield, when they do this to us, it kills us. I mean, it really does. We had the governor, he's got his little rainy day fund of $2.3 billion. He didn't tell you how he got that. He took it from townships and cities and school districts. We lost $300,000 out of our budget. From when I first came trustee 7 years ago, we were at 1.3. We're just about $1 million right now. So, I mean, that's a lot of money for us not to have. I mean, so now that they did this, now all of a sudden now we got to deal with the Corps killing our businesses and you know, again, home values. I mean, that's, if anybody here have lakefront on the lake? Okay, so if you had water through October, what would that do to your home value? I mean, you would add 100,000. Go ahead and try to sell your house right now. People are gonna walk out there, well, they do this every year, you know? So again, what it does to the home values, if your home is $200,000 right now, and it can be worth $300,000, yes, you're gonna pay more taxes, but the township's also gonna benefit from that also. So, and our safety services and our road departments, we're all gonna benefit. We don't have water sewers, so they can put allotments in, and we just don't have that. And like I said, these business owners are our neighbors. This is our home. So, God, I can't believe there's that many of you guys here that have more.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Jim circulated a set of curves from the Berlin Lake Association, which
Yes.
is very instructive. And it shows the Corps' ideal curve on it as one. And it indicates that over the last, well, almost forever, that the Corps has deviated quite significantly from that curve in the direction we want to go. But this year, since we got our people out and a bunch of Pittsburgh people who don't know us or care about us in, it follows that curve. And so we were right now about 4 to 5 feet below where it's normally been.
Okay, what happened last year then? What happened last year? Last year, they killed us by August 15th. They dropped us 2 inches a day after our meeting in Kent Trumbull. You know.
Yeah, it has.
August 7th of last year is when they started dropping us.
Okay, so August 7th of last year was 2 inches a
Done
day.
by Labor Day.
Yeah.
This year, it started to drop in July.
Correct.
Early
So by August 1st, we were pretty much done. Well, this is what can't be tolerated. This is what we're going to fight for. Again, 30 days is all we're asking for, is something that God created, and that's simple thing as water. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out there's 140,000 less people in Youngstown and Warren. There's no steel mills, that they don't need to release that much. They tell me they need a study. We need to do a study that's gonna cost millions of dollars. If we can get somebody to group in, to go together, to partner up with, and I asked, point blank told them, who in the hell is gonna invest any money in Berlin? Well, you tell me who. If you're not showing us that you're willing to do anything or help us, you tried for a deviation, you made us believe that that was what's gonna happen, and again, now it's gonna be approved. Sabrina, come on up. I'll give you the mic.
Yeah, my question is it sounds like typical government overreach, and without any reasoning behind it. What is it to gain for the Army Corps of Engineers to keep doing this earlier and earlier? Obviously, we know the impact on the residents here and the businesses. What is the reasoning, or are you just getting lip service, which is very
Well, I'm going to say lip service. Well, I talked to the new commander, and he said that one of the most important thing to him is water quality, and economics was like down here. So how our township is struggling is, I think, third line. Then the water quality comes before that, and I believe, what was the other one that he said, quantity?
Deal with pollution part comes from.
I think it was quantity, quality, then economics. So quality and quantity comes before the economics, before you guys, before us as a community.
What, has there been a change in leadership or administration of the Army Corps that's
Well,
why?
recently, yes, we had, the commanders come in, I think they do a 2 or 3 year term, and you get so far with one commander, and then he ups and leaves. And then now insert a new one, we start all back over again.
And our hydrologist of 30-some years
Yes.
retired 2 years ago, and that's just when it really started.
Right.
Was when Mr. Warner Lowline retired, that's when Megan took over. Last year, she was trying to keep us above normal, to keep water in the lake. And I believe Tim talked to her, and she got orders from Cincinnati, which at that time we had never heard of Cincinnati being
Right.
involved. That she had to go by what they said. And she has continued on with this, the plan from 1942, basically.
Yeah, right.
To a T.
But they're not following that. Every year is
No,
not the same.
since Mr. Warner Lowline left, they are following to a T.
Okay.
When he was here, we had water. I mean, we wanted a little bit more.
We wanted
but
more.
But
Yeah.
we had, I mean, really, unless we was in a drought situation, we was between elevation of 1018 to 1024 by the end of August. We could always count on, at the business of cooling our docks the last weekend of September and the first weekend of October. We haven't been able to get them out now for 3 years.
Right.
Because of what.
Then you have all the damage to the docks that lay in the bottom of the lake, freeze,
But
bust.
since Mr. Lowline left, and we got new colonels, other people have retired. Cincinnati came into the picture someplace.
Well, we always had that.
And this is when it has really went downhill.
Well, again, this is the hardship that we're facing. And I wanted some of these folks that are running for new positions or trying to unseat, for you guys to understand where we're coming from and what we're going to push to do as the township trustees. Again, we cannot do it on our own. There's just so much information that's needed, so anybody that can help, we would appreciate it. And as far as form a committee, that'd be a good thing. We'll have to talk with the prosecutors. If we start a committee, then we're going to have special meetings all the time. If there's more than one trustee at meetings, there's things called sunshine laws. So we have to follow all the rules. So does anybody else have anything else or any questions of us of where we want to head? how we want to get there.
Can the prosecutor come to one of these meetings and say, look, you guys, this is what I need, would you get a bang for the buck?
We have to bring the prosecutor up to, and we've talked and told him we're gonna take him to lunch. And again, it's gonna take hours to get him up to speed. It's very fascinating to him. He's one of those history kind of guys that love things like this. So yeah, he's very interested. He's 100% behind us. So we have to bring him up to speed first. But why would get him up to speed if we can collect any data that we can, and then boom, give it to him. And then he can tell us from that point where we need to go. So again, this is a really, really early stage.
I would think that if you guys formed committees, however it's on the committee, I would think that you guys could meet on your own in that committee, do all the fact gathering you can and everything. But then whenever you need to present it to us so we can go further with this, then it has to be a public meeting. But as far as you guys forming committees, I'll find out, but I think you can have a committee. What do you think? So they can get a committee on their own and gather facts and talk.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to have public
Concerned
meetings for that.
citizens committee. They can form a concerned citizen committee, and that was gonna be
Well, that's
my.
what we have, kind of, with the Berlin Lake Association. I mean, that's exactly what we have. So,
I
I
don't
mean,
see
maybe, I don't know if Tim's willing to do this, it's a lot of work, yeah, but.
You just wanna make sure there's not a
You're
lot
a
of
retired guy.
duplicate efforts, and then, you just wanna make sure there's not a lot of duplicate efforts.
Right.
And like I said, when you're not getting anywhere with government, and I will tell you, as an elected official, I hate the term politician because it has such a negative connotation, but put your pen to power, because I'm telling you, when you write to someone, and you'll see a lot of times they'll send you out emails, or at least I get them, the legislators will say, please write to this congressperson, please write to that, because once you put your pen to power and you write letters, that becomes a public record. They can't just discard it. I mean, you know, you can call in, but all you normally get is a voicemail, or you get an aide that doesn't really, you know, sometimes have the power or the follow-through to it. But once the constituents start writing letters, and I think it'll be interesting once Chris Majuri figures out what the status is for the township, then we can start writing to the legislators, the Army Corps of Engineers, and it really does have an impact. As someone that is an elected official, believe me, the quickest way you want a response from any of us is email it to us or something, because it's like, you know, it gets in front of us. If you mail it in, you know, we don't see it until maybe our next session, but if you want a quick response, email, like, you know, your concerns, or like I said, in the last case, you can always always mail it in, but if you want a quicker response, I would email it to them.
But that's what, you know, we have, a lot of us have done that, a lot of our customers, and they have sent multiples in, and the only thing they do is click a button and send an automated written letters, you know, dear concerned resident, or, you know,
that's really,
you know, thank you for your inquiry about Berlin Lake, or, you know, there, as you can tell by the letter that Mom and I sent to the colonel, and then the response we got, it doesn't even, he did not even read it, that is a generated email.
Well, there's other things too. It's the communication with Pittsburgh, with us. I was talking to their dude over there last week. He didn't even meet the last manager, Kevin. He hasn't met this new one yet. I mean, so, and he's a concessionaire on the lake that pays them money. And they don't even, you know, go and see him. I mean, there's just, between Duke, Martha, Tim, everybody out here, we have enough information. It's just getting it put all together and go from there and see what Chris says.
So what time frame are we talking about that they keep shortening? Is it like a month, month and a half? I mean, what are, if we request to September, where does that put us at compared to where they're at now? Have they started draining it like
Right
at the
now,
end
we're
of
7
July?
feet down, and we're today, the 21st of August, we're not even close to Labor Day, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Mark,
Okay.
it's discrimination, what they're doing. They're discriminating against Berlin, while West Branch and Mosquito are holding. I think Mosquito's probably at some pool right now. West Branch may be down to 2 foot or so, and that's all. But it's total discrimination. That's what it is. They have state campgrounds, we have federal. We don't care about their own campground.
Right, and again, the state invested $4-6 million into theirs. Our campground over here, Mill Creek, they've let it go, and it's just, it's been going down with us the last couple of years. Yes, sir.
Can we start using the Berlin Lake Association webpage to start telling us where these politicians stand? And, I mean, I wouldn't hate. If Renacci's for us or against us, I'll buy a sign that says Renacci's for Berlin Lake or Renacci's against.
Yeah, well, that
So we
would
need to
be,
get that out there because
you talk to Tim, he's asking if they can use the Berlin Lake Association webpage to endorse maybe those, or find out, ask people from,
That's, we run a very fine line on that.
well,
And
they're either for or against.
No, I agree. Now,
So-
we are a 501c3 nonprofit.
Right.
So we can't endorse any candidate or anything, but we can tell them how they stand on everything. We
Yes.
can't tell you where this,
All we want
where
to
it
know
happens.
is, where does Renacci stand? Where does he stand on it?
well, he doesn't know,
We
you
don't know.
gotta take this information back to
But see, I don't see you writing notes down.
Tim, we can't endorse candidates, but we can endorse issues.
We can't endorse it.
Right, so I don't understand why we can't say Renacci's for the lake level, or Renacci's against the lake. That's not endorsing, it's a fact.
We can. And we
And I
can do a lot
think we
more.
need to start doing that, because until we start costing these guys votes, they don't care. I mean, hey, I love the fact you're going up against Tim Ryan, but he doesn't give crap about us because he's got the votes. He knows that he's gonna win. So until we get the word out that you're for the lake and he's against the lake,
correct.
it's,
Well,
people
I
got
mean,
votes and they don't
that's just
know.
knowledge. I mean, those of us who've been part of this lake for X amount of years, Tim Ryan, who? We never see him over here. We've been to meetings at his office, we've never met him. I've never met him.
I've been in meetings at his office, I've never met him.
Right.
You get a picture on the front page of the Record Courier of a street of Tim Ryan is against Berlin Lake, then you're gonna get his attention, because then it's gonna get votes.
It's gotta go to Youngstown or
Well, whatever, Pete. But that's what's gonna get his attention, because he looks at Berlin Lake and says, there's 25 people, I don't need.
Well, we could
25
say,
votes."
same thing, I'm trying to
Right.
educate this gentleman right here who's running against him, and I don't know if he would be for the water or level or not. I mean, you see our hardships that we're going through, and what these landowners and businesses are going through because they're taking the water away. I mean, do you understand that? Would you back us if you became elected?
We'll sit down and
Point blank. So you would be for the lake level?
I said, I want to sit down, I want the rest of the commission here, and I want to sit down with the board, and I want to know what their thought process is, and what you can do in Washington to change it, right?
Right.
These are two questions you ask sometimes. Why do you do what you do, and what information do you for me to change that?
Fair enough.
Oh. So, nobody, not Tim, not me, no one's gonna stand here and tell you guys you're against the lake. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna gather as much information I can from these three gentlemen, and then I'm gonna reach out to the Corps, and I'm gonna reach out to Congressman Bill Johnson, who you guys have worked with, and who I've worked with. And the meeting I'm gonna have is, why do you do what you do in the Corps? And what do we have to do in Washington to change it? Those are the only two questions I have. Why do you do it, and what can we do to change it? To me, I think that's pretty much sums it up. Look, I want the best thing for everyone in this community. Anyone who stands here and says something different than that is crazy, but I need to go talk to these folks and see what we can do to change their minds. So, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Question, like, if you want to get a hold of somebody, have a form letter made up, this chair, all those people, and send the right person the letters. And get everybody to send them. We got 40-some people that have a lot for them.
Okay.
So we could get all them to send letters.
Okay, yeah, I think, Leslie, you have a lot on your webpage.
We just do Facebook, and I always post
Well, you're,
every.
on Leslie's page Facebook, I think you posted a lot of the addresses, Pittsburgh office, Cincinnati, there's a new one, what's the new one in, Troy? No.
Toy now.
Toy.
Today. I have not posted his yet. I want to wait till after the meeting to see what
Okay.
the guy can. But I have the Colonel, the chief of, that's under him, plus Megan, the hydrologist.
Are we allowed to
And
put that
Tim's
on
gone
our
on his.
webpage?
I don't see why we can't put that information on there, it's public record.
So public record, so what we'll do is we'll get a list together of all the politicians that would be affected in our area, whether it be Bill Johnson, Tim, the people over at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati office, whatever we can do, we'll try to post it on the Deerfield webpage.
I
And
have the major general that I've been.
is that
back and
Toy?
forth. That's Mark Toy is the regional guy, and his bosses in Washington. I've just had several communications from him, and passing the buck, mind you, but we do have their email address now, so we can easily swap them with email. If you
So
like.
can we put that on your webpage address or?
Yeah.
Yep, so you can either go on the Berlin Lake Association, or we'll try to get it on the township webpage, of who we need to write to, since Tim's got a new one in Washington. I think we should bombard him. At least get some attention. I mean, that's the whole thing, is we need to get the attention to us. One more, I gotta get this one back here first. Yes, Barb.
On Tim Ryan's website, if you're not within his district, you can't send him an email.
Not at all.
And there's a lot of people here that don't live here, but they come.
Okay. So if you're saying if they're not a resident of his district, you can't send him.
Right. My daughter lives in Columbus, she can't send him an email.
Okay. But you could send, but they could send it to the Pittsburgh district or the Cincinnati division or Washington that Tim just got an email to from Major General, I
That's
think.
one reason why Tim Ryan is.
Yes, ma'am.
Part-time homeowners can change their residency to their home here, and then change it back if you want. If you want to vote in the fall election, you can change your residency.
Right, right. Is there any time limit on that? Do you do it the day before? I mean, I'm not sure.
Sign up, change it, and then change it back to your other home.
Yes, sir.
It just seems you guys all run for office, and the last thing you want is bad press. And to me, the only way to go after is bad press.
I agree.
I mean, when you run,
You look outside the box like I do. Again, I'm that guy that doesn't have the filter.
Neither do I.
And sometimes it gets me in trouble, that's why I apologize ahead of time. But, yeah, so I kind of think outside the box, and I'm a little bit more rough around the edges, and when they say something, I'm going to call them out on it. That's how I am, but,
How do we do that? How do we get?
Well, I
how-
mean,
How do we do that? We've been
I
trying.
don't know, but I do know that, look, social media, but think about, I know it's up in Cleveland, but they're always looking for stories about how stupid the government spends money. And you show them a mud hole with $1.5 million boat ramp, they might give you some time because of so
Barb and John
stupid.
back here, they were trying to get.
I'm trying to get Channel 8.
We can't even, they couldn't even get Channel 8 to come down. I've called
Okay.
different ones.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying you haven't, I'm just.
Yeah.
No, but we.
I mean, maybe if we call as one of us elected officials calls, maybe we can get them to come down, maybe. We'll try that. We'll try, you channel 3, you channel 5, you channel 8, somebody channel 9. We'll see if we can get some coverage down here, but what do you guys think about that? You guys want to make that?
It's a great idea.
Okay, so there's what we're going to do. We're going to start calling and see if we can get on. Yes, sir.
Wakeboarding up there, practicing, how all the money was coming in, and he said right out of the meeting that they would go to Berlin, with no water in it, all the water was filtered.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's unfortunate they get that press. Now, we've had 29 and 33 out. We've actually taken reporters out on pontoons and this and that. Now, I called her 2 weeks ago for her to come back out. She emailed me back and said, why did they let the water out? And I said, yeah, I need you here. Because what I wanted to do is take them out, stand in a foot of water where the islands are at, and have them go out and then film it and say, this is the lake. I'm standing in the middle of the lake. So I'm still trying to get all of her. Her name's Christine Mullen from Channel 33 and 29. Yes.
I hear you talking about Channel 3, 5, and 8, those are all radio stations. The congressman is Tim Ryan and Bill Johnson. for Deerfield and Berlin Center. They're not in Cleveland, they're in Youngstown and Warren.
No, but we've had them out, but if you come across anything on this side of the bridge, is going to be Cleveland Station. When you go across the bridge into Berlin Center, that becomes Youngstown.
Right, but what I'm saying is the congressmen that we need to help make these changes are not in Cleveland, they're in Warren and Youngstown, and those are the people that we need to reach.
Yeah, but my thought is that even if we get 3, 5, and 8, we get them down there, we're at least getting some type of exposure. We still have state representatives that have to answer questions too.
What does it matter, 3, 5, and 8, this is an hour away from them. This is 15, 20 minutes.
Well, they came down to investigate the rape on the trail, so, I mean, they came down for that. Why couldn't they come down for this?
I agree with you. I'm just saying, in reality, I live in Berlin Center, and I see the local news across the street of the park when they neglect to open it all the time and close it and make it. They are actually reporting on things that are going on in Berlin Lake now, outside of something as atrocious as a rape around Berlin. So what I'm saying is that when they look at the news and what's sensational in Cleveland, Berlin Lake levels I think would be pretty small.
Well, no, we still are in contact. Like I said, I'm still in contact with Channel 29 and 33, or 27 and 33. Quite often. So yes, we're still trying to get them to come out and do another story on it. So I'm just saying, on top of the Youngstown station, it's not going to hurt completely. Because we still have state representative Kathleen Clyde, and it's an election year. This is an election year, so maybe we can get, what's going on over in Portage County. As far as the news, they can report the Berlin's, hiking trail, and everybody goes, oh, what's going on over there? Well, let's get them on the water. I'm just saying, it wouldn't hurt. Exposure's not gonna hurt.
He's the most irritating person.
Okay.
Honestly.
But see, that's the problem with Renacci's office. At this point, he's not, Bill Johnson and Tim Ryan are everybody that is here. If we could get them to go to Tim Ryan's office?
That's what I meant to say.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I agree, but I don't know that the Cleveland station's going to do that. I don't know if 27, I don't get 2733, so I don't know if they have an investigative team or not, but.
I don't know. That man is irritating. He made
Yes.
Wait a minute, bring this to the forefront too. You call some of these radio talk shows like Bert, tell them what's going on. I mean, it's always about waste.
I agree with you. Yeah, if you give this to Verb or Rivers, they'd have a field day with it.
Right, he runs this.
Yes.
That's waste.
Right. Youngstown Radio, 570 WKBN.
Okay.
Yeah.
Write that down for me, and I'll make that contact, see what we do. Yes, ma'am.
I'm done, Ross, I'm sorry. Yes, I have. I live in Lexington Township, okay? I'm Stark County. What everybody's doing is wonderful. I'm in business, okay? You're very passionate about what you want to do, okay? I understand that, I get it. But the old saying, you get more sugar with flies than you do vinegar, okay? Being in business, the most important thing about being in business is service, okay? If you don't provide good service, people aren't going to come back. Now, the problem with Berlin Lake is, it's in so many different counties, it's a pissing contest going on with whoever takes care of my little Lexington Township, and it's the shallowest that we lose our water first, okay? Mr. Burdock here is a neighbor of mine. He lives a couple of properties down from me. I feel that maybe, I understand your point, that whatever the court, whenever we come here, we've lived here 20 years, Berlin Lake is in my backyard. I live in the protected zone, okay? Mr. Burdock lives in the limited development zone. How far would you say you are from us, Art?
300 feet, 400 feet.
Okay, so between my property and his property, there's an invisible line that divides limited development from protected. We understand that, okay? We love our lake, we love where we live. We're on the end where y'all got neighbors. We don't have neighbors, okay, which is wonderful. But, you know, it all boils down to the passion that you guys have and calling the TV stations and doing these things. That's all wonderful and great, but I think we need to take it more from a legislative point of view. As this woman here is trying to explain, it's whenever you talk to the court, Berlin Lake was designed for flood control, not recreation. We are so far down on that list, we don't matter.
That's changed. I think in the late 70s, early 80s, they added recreation to the back end of the flood control. So no, we're still considered recreation. I mean, we have,
But they didn't allocate water.
right.
Yes, but
They lease property to Dutch Harbor, to Bless's Bay.
Right,
You guys call yourselves, what is it, not concessionaires, concessionaires. So they have concessionaires, so don't tell me if you gotta pay for a dock permit, or a mowing permit, or, you know,
correct.
lessons, and Duke's gotta pay X amount of money. It's recreation, so that, trying to blow that up, no. So again, I agree, but we have to do whatever it takes.
So many different
We're
counties.
not saying that we're not gonna go that way. That's why we're here. We need people to get the information so we can move forward in that legal standpoint. But in the meantime, why don't we do some other things? I mean, this is what we're here for, is to get information, how we can do any attention we can get.
In the world of business, if you piss someone off, they're gonna tell 100 people. If you make somebody happy, they're gonna tell 10, okay? I want those 10 happy people to come in and let me take care of them, because we're, with what's happened with somebody not talking to us, like something that happened 3 years ago, that all of a sudden now we're being punished for something that happened at a core meeting, or something that happened at a meeting with somebody else. Like, okay, for example, we met with the new shoreline management fella, okay? Not a very good meeting, okay? After that, things kind of started going down.
Okay.
So I feel like every time, because I pay Stark County taxes, okay? And we pay a lot of taxes, and we love where we live, we don't want to live anywhere else. I'd love to have water, I'd love to have a dock. I can't beach my boat, I can't leave a rug down there. You know, we understand these things.
Okay, but the passion from us is not, it's just not that we're gonna call and we're gonna write letters and this. This is things that we're going to do while we're looking towards the legal aspect of moving forward. That's why we brought everybody here, to see who is willing to get the information, to get any information so we can move in that legality format. But in the meantime, so if we start writing letters to congressmen and calling TV stations up, no, that's not the best thing, but that gets us exposure and maybe get somebody that could get really interested in this and come in and help us from the outside. There's a gentleman that docks down at Martha's. Is he here tonight? Did he make it? The one that works for the flood. Works for the United States government. Anytime there's a natural disaster, he goes. Parker.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Parker here?
Jeff's here.
Yeah, where are you at? I didn't see you. Jeff Parker. Yeah. Okay. Maybe
But as
doesn't
far
want to
as
be
like
seen.
my congressman goes,
So-
my congresspeople are different from you guys in Portage County, because I'm at the northernmost end of Stark County.
So who's it yours?
Pardon me?
Who is your congressman?
I have no idea.
It's Tim Ryan. It's Tim Ryan.
Okay, because if I've called 911 before, and I've given them my address, and they ask me what county I'm in, and I say Stark, they say, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So,
Okay,
yes.
anybody else? Before we leave, so, yes.
Real quick. Go ahead. Does anybody come up with an idea for sending letters? That not everybody's going to know where to help write. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we need some direction as far as that. I'm willing to do it. I mean,
All right, so if you go to the Berlin Lake Association webpage, you go to,
We'll put we'll put it on the Berlin Lake Association webpage. Okay, on the Berlin Lake Association webpage, we will put, and this is the Berlin Lake Association webpage. I will put on there to make sure that all the contacts we're currently dealing with are available with a email address that you can contact us.
But if you don't have an email address, I have one, but what if not everybody has one?
Unfortunately, the only way you can get a hold of a lot of these people, now the congressmen, we can get all their, let's say, snail mail addresses, but the email addresses are pretty much the way you want to get a hold of these people today, and we can get you those. I can get you those for the upper.
Go through the walls, right?
All right, and is there, if there's anything like that, I'm more than happy to provide that on the Berlin Lake Association website. Now, beyond that, what else would you like?
The rest of the Berlin Association webpage.
www.berlinlakeassociation.com.
All right, I don't know.
We can also put the information on our website, and we can also get it on the sign, so if you forget it, you can go around the circle, you can see the sign on the sign, and ours is www.deerfieldtwpportage.com. And if you forget that, we'll get it on the sign, we'll leave it up on the sign for a while, that way you can see it there.
And just one more note, for the woman who said you can't email Congressman Ryan, you can't use the form on his congressional website. He has a house.gov email address. Anyone can email that email address.
Is Tim Ryan Stark County?
So the 13th Congressional District is the City of Alliance and Lexington Township.
Okay, that's Tim Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mark, real quick.
yes,
How
John.
many people in the audience signed the thing they had out for the water, low water? How many people signed that?
You talking about the petition?
The
How many of you
petition.
signed the petition that they passed out?
Here, we should have every one of these people tonight sign in, notarize that and say, this is how many we had at our first meeting.
Well, where is that? Where's that?
Well, that's what
I understand. What I'm going to do is put that tablet out there. It's actually over there by our fire chief, Brian. So if you're willing to help and give us...
I'm not talking about willing to help, I'm talking about getting the petition signed with all these people.
We've done that.
Yeah.
These people said they haven't.
Okay, well, whatever. The Berlin Lake Association put together, and I've met with Tim Ryan's representative by the name of Rich Leonard. And he was the one that put together the meetings for us for last year. And at that meeting, I gave him over 4,000 signatures on petitions asking for the investigation of the water level here and how we could help them. Over 4,000.
How many people here signed
And he didn't want to take them. He didn't want to take them, but he did. And that's the last we've heard of it.
Yeah, there's probably the trash can.
Yeah, we have not heard from him. I also gave a copy to Colonel Leonard of the Corps, and he didn't want him either. But we've done all this. We've put together a lot of work. The Berlin Lake Association has been around for 15 years for this purpose. We've been working for this for a long time. This is the closest this year we have ever come to getting anything that close to a deviation. And we got it in the paperwork. They did a lot of work to put this together. That's 54 pages that they have of information to put this through. And it was then it was put together on the end of June, after which Colonel Lloyd was transferred out and Colonel Short was put into that position, and it was denied at that time. So just so you know, it was denied, and they said it needed to further study, and the further study that Colonel Short told me was it was going to be cost between $250 and $500,000.
What?
Is what he told me. So with that being said, you know what we're dealing with now, and I said, look, we're not talking about a whole year, we're talking about 2 months, and we're talking about a drawdown of 3 to 4 foot. You know,
About 7 or 8.
and now we're down 7 foot. So just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, we've done this. So this is as close as we've been, and thank you all for coming here and being a part of this. We have to have the passion, we need to keep going, or we're not getting any closer. They think we're gonna go away.
We're not.
So,
We need Jim Champion.
That's right. Okay, so with that being said, I don't know if anybody's got anything else, but there is a notebook over there with the pens, if you guys are willing to. We would appreciate all the help. Randy, you want to close it?
I move that we close the special meeting.
I'll second that.
And I'll say yes. Guys, thanks for coming. We appreciate it. If you need to get a hold of us,